Welcome to our series, Moving America Forward. Each week we'll be focusing on America's entrepreneurs as they take us to new roads, new opportunities, new ways to fill the gaps left by today's failing companies. Our series will be looking at that and a lot more. So come with me and watch as the entrepreneurs of our nation move into the future.
And I'm Doug Llewellyn here in our studios in Los Angeles with our guest today, who is the president and CEO of a firm known as Creating and Managing Wealth, LLC. It's headquartered in Irving, Texas. As you know, that's a suburb of the great city of Dallas. I'd like you to meet her now. Here she is, the president and CEO, Christina Winters Gears. Christina, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thank you,
You
Doug.
are a wealth management specialist, and that is what you do for your clients.
Correct.
Correct. You know, it's very interesting. You had a chance to answer some questions from William Shatner a little while ago. Before we get into this in depth, let's take a little bit of, see a little bit of some of the questions that Mr. Shatner asked you and how you responded. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's watch.
I know that being successful in business today is not easy. Why don't you briefly describe what you do and what sets you apart from others in your field? And do you feel your business is helping to move America forward?
Mr. Shatner, we are an integrated financial planning firm. We answer two questions for our clients. Number one, am I going to make it? Number two, what are my financial blind spots? What sets us aside is our ability to work with high-level executives. And what we do is develop a comprehensive plan to allow them to move into retirement at the same level that they were when they were working. That, Mr. Shatner, is what we're doing to move America forward.
You know, that's very interesting indeed. You make it sound like you really do very important and you do, no question about it. What I'd like to know is, and I understand you work primarily with high-income individuals, and as you describe it often, women who are in transition, changing their lives. What's so unique and difficult, I guess, in working with people of that category versus, you know, normal, everyday, average individuals?
Well, high net worth executives and people who are in charge are very difficult to communicate with, usually. They know everything, they're in charge of everything, they're used to everybody doing what they're telling them to do.
Right.
It's a challenge to get in front of them and relax them enough to have them listen to sometimes things that are very different than what they might be doing now with their money. And also the decisions that they've made because their dad did it this way, it's not relevant today. This is not their father's economy. And it just doesn't work. So having them relax and take my advice is what's exciting about what I do, because across the board, once that happens and they're my clients and they've been with me for a couple of years, they go, I wish I would have met you 10 years ago.
You know, a very interesting question just cropped into my mind. You're dealing with a lot of men, high, powerful men. How do they feel about taking this kind of advice from a woman?
Well, I think that's a special talent that I have. I'm very relaxed with them, number one.
Right.
I grew up in the 80s in the finance industry. I mean, that was all male.
Right.
So I learned how to be with them in a way where I could talk to them. And I give them the ability to always be in charge. They're in charge, I'm not. They're the captains, I'm only a navigator. They tell me what they want to do in their finances and their lives, and then I map out pathways, and they choose.
And they listen.
And they listen.
I mean,
hopefully.
if they don't listen, they're not your clients.
Correct.
You won't take them.
No.
What are the two, you mentioned to Mr. Shatner, the two key questions you ask any client. Go over that with me. And what happens if they don't give you the right answer?
Well, the question is, am I going to make it?
And that's what they're asking you.
Yes.
Am I going to? And when you say that, am I going to make it? What do you mean by that?
Well, most everybody is afraid they're going to outlive their money.
Run out of money, right.
Right.
Okay.
Even the ones that say, I'm not going to live long.
Okay.
In the back of their head, they're going, what if I do? What
Okay.
if I do?
Okay. So that's question one.
That's one.
They want to make sure they have enough money to last for however long they may be around.
And how much do they need?
That's the other question.
What are my financial blind spots?
Boy, that's a tough question.
It is. It is. Because, again, this isn't their father's economy. This isn't the way, it's not work, save, retire like it was for parents.
All right.
It's a whole totally different ballgame because good news, we live longer, bad news, we live longer. How do you plan for 30 years?
Right.
And you're not actively working, although most of my clients continue to work in some fashion, even after they retire after the major game or the major 2 games. You know, clients will retire twice from big positions.
All right, let me ask you about, you point out you demand that you have control over everything of theirs, financially speaking.
Well,
And sometimes that's hard to get them to do.
now let's back up because I don't have control. I have
You need to know
have
about
it all in the confines of my firm.
Right.
Having $1 million with this broker, $1 million over here, that doesn't work because then I'm like running against a tide sometimes. You've got some broker calling him up going, hey, Harry, let's get rid of this dog and let's buy this. That's not the way I manage money. So I don't want that conflicting with the actual process that's necessary to become wealthy consistently. You can't chase 60% returns.
How do you manage money?
We manage money. I work with a client. I ask them questions. From the answers that they give me, we hire money managers together. I point them in the direction of various money managers. I don't manage the money. I'm an integrated financial planner. So we hire these managers based on what my clients are telling me, what they're going to need money for. Because, see, it's not just them. Sometimes there's a special child, a child that is always going to need care.
Right.
So then things need to be, we have to have a modicum amount of money set aside for that child. That needs to be managed differently by different managers. Whereas maybe the client's money is managed in a totally different way. And depending on how much money they have, we have 2, 3, 6, 8 managers sometimes.
How big is your team? It's a pretty good-sized team you have.
Yes, we have 19 different managers.
Right.
And then I've got a staff of 10 in my office that actually, the managers are not in my office. They are off-site in their firms managing the money through the broker-dealer. But my staff in my office is 10.
So in essence, you really take control of their financial lives. You know their picture, you know what they have, and then if they want to spend money for something or do something, they come and ask you if I can do this. All right, right?
Well, most of the time they just call up and say, I need X amount of dollars. Please
Right.
send me that money. We always ask them for what, and not because we're trying to control what they're spending their money on. We just sometimes can have them get it in a different way. Rather than pulling, for example, I had a man call up and say, I need $40,000 for my daughter's wedding. It was a late life wedding. He paid for the other daughter when she was 20. This one was 38. Well, he's now 63 and semi-retired, and he wants 40 grand out of his assets. I have to let them know, okay, if you take 40 grand now, this is the impact it's going to make 20 years
Down
from
the
now.
road.
Right.
Yeah.
How many years did we take off of your income because of time value of money?
So you question it, you make them think.
Right.
Let me also ask you about the fact of women in transition. We talked about it. You deal with a lot of women in that category. And that could mean many things. Changing lives, they've lost a husband, different things. Divorce. What do you do in that area?
Well, there's three actually major transition, and I love this part of my business. If there's a death,
Yep.
if there's a divorce, and if they've left a corporation. I have a lot of women that have left corporations to start their own business and to do something different in their lives. So they've got all the trappings of the corporate world coming with them, options and 401ks and 457s, and all that has to be managed properly because they're also going to need money to start up their business. So we want to do it in a way where it's not going to hurt them tax-wise. Then you've got a woman who's divorced. Most of the time they have not been involved in the money management and they're very frightened. I explain to them that money is a right-brained creative experience and they are very capable of handling the money. Because one of the things that I always want to do is empower my clients so that they get a chance to understand what we're doing and why we're doing. Because they'll go to some cocktail party and say, oh, this is what we're doing. And then someone goes, oh, you're doing what? Oh, my God. And if they don't understand it, then they get fearful.
Bottom line, how successful are you in helping your clients keep what they have, or at least have enough so that they're comfortable realizing that, yeah, they're going to make it?
I'm very successful because I get letters, phone calls. I'm out with clients. They always tell me, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. But you know what I tell them? Yes, I did give you advice, but if you didn't take that advice, you wouldn't be where you're at. Because some people don't like the advice that I give them, and they leave.
Yeah.
They usually don't leave after they've been with me a year. But in the first 3 or 4 months, they may totally come up against a brick wall on my advice.
But the point is, those who follow your advice do well.
Do very well.
That's the key. That's the whole key right there. Thank you so much, Christina. This has been very interesting indeed.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This organization represents companies across our great nation that embody the spirit, dedication, know-how, and can-do attitude which has made America the great nation that it is today. And now let's present the Keeping America Strong Award.
Now it's my honor to present this prestigious award to Christina Winters Gears, the President and CEO of Creating and Managing Wealth of Irving, Texas, for the outstanding work that she is doing to help keep moving America forward. Christina, congratulations.
Thank you so much, so much. None of this would be possible without my wonderful staff that supports me and my clients every day.
Thanks again.
That's it for another edition of Moving America Forward. I'm Bert Tenzer. Join us again as we continue to bring you the entrepreneurs who move America forward.
I'm William Shatner, and for all of us at Moving America Forward, thanks for watching.